Welcome to another edition of the Ref Pod. The Premier League is now in full swing. We are on episode 12. We're firing through these podcasts like there's no tomorrow. And today, we're going to throw you a little bit of a curveball from, well, it's an amazing story, really. Something that happened over the weekend. Can't wait to get into it. We've got him on the show. We're going to introduce him in a second. Obviously, you've got me. You've got the other way, Mr. Baker. And then you've got Chief Exec, the big dog, Martin Cassidy from Ref Support UK. How you doing, guys? Okay, good weekend?
Banging.
Oh, look at that. One-word answers. We're off to a flyer today, aren't we?
Listen. My triplet grandchildren were won this weekend.
Really?
Yes.
How expensive was that for you?
So that wasn't that expensive, really. But
it will be.
Just a great family occasion. I've got 6 grandchildren, including the triplets, which I've mentioned one before, haven't I? Our Grace. I've been told I'm not going to talk about Annabelle.
Oh, right.
She's my favourite princess now.
Oh, right.
For ages, this.
What did you do, mate? Did you have an occasion at home? Did you go back to Liverpool? What did you do?
No, because we're all around here in Somerset. They all live within a 5 minutes drive, so we all got together, had a shindig, loads of food, bit of drinking, but I was driving, so I didn't drink.
Yeah.
Just a good family occasion, just good that.
Do you know what? I love it. You've had a good time. This is a mad week for me. This is like fucking birthday week times 3. So yesterday it was my missus' birthday. Tomorrow it's my lad's birthday. And then Saturday it's my little girl's birthday. So it feels like Groundhog Day, getting happy birthday. Yeah. So this is a mad expensive week for my household. So yeah, we've got some birthday shenanigans going off all week, mate. So I feel it's good though, isn't it, when you get together? A little bit of party, a little bit of catch up, good stuff.
Love it. And of course, I was watching the telly and I was listening to what's happening at Portsmouth. And then I seen it all develop, and I was like, Top Wayne's gone. So I just thought, I'm going to keep an eye on that. Kept an eye on it, see how it developed. And then I thought, right, I'm going to see if I can find him. Put it on the Ref Support Twitter. Save it.
Why? Because we'll introduce him, and then you can talk to him about where you found out. It'll be good. It'll flow better, trust me.
Go on, then.
Right. So, today, the show, Jules Browning. Wouldn't have a clue who he was, three days ago? Now, he's all over social media. He's all over the media world. You've been on BBC, haven't you, Jules?
I have indeed, yeah. 5 Live on Saturday night. I've just been on South today.
Yeah.
Down in here to an interview today, and I've also been on the other Southern channel. I was on TalkSport this morning with Ali McCoist and Andy Townsend. Radio Gloucester. Solar TV. I've forgotten. Well, there's loads of them. And I still haven't finished. I've got a couple more for tomorrow as well.
Martin, don't get jealous. He's on more than you now.
I'm really jealous now.
Right, Martin. Over to you. You tell us how the story developed, because this is your baby. They're all your babies, really.
Yeah, mate. This is a good one. Normal. I get a lot of stick because it's a huge passion for me. Everything in refereeing. It just is. And when I seen a unique angle here, I thought I've got to find out more about this. And then there's a lad who knows on our Facebook page. He's in the Navy, Michael Clements. He put it on our Facebook page and tagged in Jules. And I thought, oh, hello. And then I messaged Mike and said, do you know this lad? He went, yeah, I need him to come on our Ref Pod. On Monday, we're going to drop everything we're going to do and see if we get him on. Couple of minutes later, friends on Facebook with Jules all got sorted out. And I was delighted that he come on. And I knew. And as you've probably found, Jules, we'll talk in a minute. I knew it would take off. I just knew that would take. It had everything. It had you getting out of there in your polo shirt and your shorts. The golden boots. We need to talk about the golden boots, for fuck's sake. But it was just the whole thing. Portsmouth fan doing your own pitching. And I've done games at Portsmouth, and I know what a simmers ground that is. Yeah. When you're there and it's your team, mate, what's that like?
Oh, my God.
We need to know the story, don't we? We need to know what happened.
Well, yeah, come on. That's what he's going to do. He's going to build a story.
You want to... So, starting the day. I mean, so I'm a Chimes Lounge. So I'm a hospitality season ticket holder. My wife, myself, and other friends and family. We share a table. We have done for some years now. So we're sat above the dugouts. We're always sat in that place. So we go there for the football to socialise. I'm not a big drinker in that respect. Despite what they said about hospitality everywhere else, it's not like for me. And we're sat there. We've watched the first half. We've watched the first assistant ref go down with a calf. And bear in mind, the same thing had happened when we played Exeter on Tuesday night. We lost the assistant ref in that game as well. So of course everybody's chanting and going, well, that's a bit weird. 2-2. We're into the second half, and the ref just picks the ball up and comes wandering over, and everybody's like, something's happened. Like they've thrown a coin at the linesman, or someone's abused him or something. And then he started hobbling across, and everyone's gone, he's gone down. That's 2 linesmen. Who's coming out? What's happening? All the players were walking off and talking to the ref, and then they made the announcement: is there a qualified official in the ground? And I kept very quiet to begin with.
What? Just before you go to your next bit, just let people know, don't know, what is it that you do in terms of refereeing at this point? What level are you at, or what level were you at, or where are you at?
So I'm just level 5 now. I've been, I guess you could say, over the years. I mean, I've played and refed continuously for 35 years, if you like. Back in the 80s, when I was either banned, I'd been perhaps got a red card or wasn't picked, I'd blow the whistle for fun, but I'd done no course. And then about 10, 12 years ago, I was still playing, but I thought, you know what, I don't want to never get out of the sport. So refereeing was the obvious thing.
Just at grassroots level, yeah?
Yeah, so 9 down to 5, so down to 5. And obviously, as a member of the Royal Navy, RNFA was our county, and my associate county is Hampshire. But what the Navy gave us was not the opportunity just to ref for within the Navy, into services, into commands, but if you travel the world like we do, you go to different countries. So I've been fortunate enough to referee in a few odd and strange countries around the world, purely because the ship needed. They had a team. We always had a team, and hey, if you've got an official that goes around where the team goes, it was absolutely fantastic. It was ideal. So
go on then. They've come over and said,
yeah. So they've come over. They've made that tunnel, and I've gone no. But everybody pointing, point. He'll do it. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. No response. Second tunnel announcement. We'll ask again. Is there a qualified official? So at this stage, they're trying to make me stand up. So I've stood up, and of course I'm in a bright and orange Fred Perry polo shirt, which sticks out anywhere you are in the ground. The Cheltenham bench just turned around and started pointing and going, there's someone up there. I've got to go then, and I've got to go. So I just make my way down to the side of the pitch, to the dugout, and into the tunnel, and that's as far as I got at that point. So we moved on. First question: have you been drinking? Because they've seen me come from hospitality, and I went, I've not even had a pint. Literally, I had a pint still on the table from before the kickoff. It's about a third drunk, because we're in and out. And then it was a credential check. So they're on the phone to Hampshire FA, Mike Jones at PGMO as well, and confirming all my fan number, date of birth, and everything. And then they said, right, you're good to go. What do the managers think? So they spoke to the managers, and having discussed it with their players, they came back and said, yeah, we're happy with Wade Elliott saying on the proviso that you do Pompey's back four. And that was the only condition they wanted. So that was it. Rally round, got some kit off bits and pieces, got a shirt, some comms, and the golden boots turned up from a boot room somewhere. And were thrown at me in the tunnel, and I thought, they look perfect, and they were like slippers.
Golden slippers.
I'm wearing. Yeah, I'm wearing them out, and I was off. One of the other officials said, "I've got a spare pair of black." I said, "No, I'm sticking." They're going out on the pitch.
I'm having this.
If this doesn't draw the attention, the boots are going to draw more attention than anything.
So what minute did you come on? What minute did you take over?
Do you know what, Wayne? If I'm really honest, I can't actually remember what the minute was, because
first half.
No, second half.
63, I think it was 63. I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And then of course, then all the additional time and everything that when they restarted, because the clock was stopped on the screen. So at that point, I didn't know, where we were or anything like that. So I'm just, all I can hear is Ben Toner talking to the fourth, going, how long we got left? What's the minutes? What we got left? How many we going to add on? And it's a constant. They had to get it right before we blew the whistle to start. But But I went on for a warm up, and I ran over to the north stand, which the whole ground just erupted when I come out the tunnel. It literally erupted. I jogged over with the others to the other side, and Ben Turner turned around and he did the Messiah wave.
I seen that. It was dead funny, that.
And the crowd just kicked off. It was superb. I thought, well, look, the adrenaline is absolutely flying now. I'm not warming up any more than I need to, because you know when you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Yes, I went back and we got it all set up, got me in place, got my flag, and just waited for that whistle. And the comms were good. Brilliant support. Right from the second. Enjoy it. Asking a few questions about what happens. What happens if Pompey score? What do I do? And he said, "Don't worry about anything. Let's just talk about it as the game goes." And the whistle went, and away we went.
Big question: did you get any shit?
Do the only person I could hear shouting? There's a guy that sits behind me in hospitality, a good friend of mine. His name's Rick, and all I could hear was, "Linesman, you're a wanker." And when you know someone, their voice.
Yeah.
My missus was sat in front of him, and she said to me later on, she said, "I turned and I said to him, I don't think that's very funny," and he stopped. He stopped stone dead.
Does he?
Yeah, he did, because he thought he'd upset her. But there were people calling me from behind the south stand that obviously knew me, because they were calling me Jools.
Yeah.
And lads I obviously know through football, playing, reffing, even shipmates. You know what I mean? So no stick whatsoever. Thank Christ.
Any big
Now,
decisions?
is that the first time you've used headsets and buzzer flags?
So I used buzzer flags before, because whenever we do command games for the Navy, there's buzzer flags generally.
Okay.
And in the inter-services, about 2019, they were loaned a set of headsets for like a sponsorship program.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, actually,
and happily, I was one of the first to use them in a game. I think it was Al Gower it wasn't. Jackie McNamara was running the game, and Jackie was.
It wouldn't be a new thing if Jackie McNamara didn't want to be the centre of attention and nick it all, would it?
Mate, I'll tell you what, Martin. At the end of the game, he was selling us knock off the old ref watches. The old ref S watches with the timing and the colours. Everything. He said you can have these for 50 quid each, lad. They're normally 100. You can pay me by PayPal now.
Listen, if you two don't know, Jackie McNamara is that lad that got done for the rock paper scissors. Do you remember that?
No. What is
what's
that?
Because that went mental at it.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
Man City, listen, correct me if I'm wrong here.
Was it instead of a toss of a coin?
Yeah, so what he did, and listen, he'll admit it himself, if Jackie McNamara was made out of chocolate, he'd eat his own leg. Loves himself. And he comes up, he said in the beginning, because I was dealing with, I ended up being on telly over this, that he forgot his coin, so instead he did rock, paper, scissors. Man City Reading, I think it was. So then it was the WSL was just stealing he's even stealing your thunder here, Jules.
Yes.
He's not even here. So anyway, he did rock, paper, scissors. Someone reported him. He got 21-day ban. Now at the time, he would miss, but he did lots of games. He would miss the same amount of games as what Suarez got for biting Ivanovic.
Wow.
So of course I went after it, blah blah blah. In the end, it ends up realising that Jackie McNamara hadn't really been truthful, and he'd been doing rock, paper, scissors for a while. It was just this thing.
All right.
It backfired on him, really. So that's why we digressed on that. So we go back to Jules. That's why I wanted you to point out why we were talking about Jackie McNamara.
Yeah.
So your headsets, mate, how did you find it on your headsets?
I mean, compared to the ones I've used previously, it was fantastic. It was, nice, snug in pit. The sound was perfect. The audio was perfect. You weren't picking out the crowd, because obviously it's quite close to the referee's mouth, but you were picking up what he was saying to the players. And, from a Parks referee, who, what it's like even getting a linesman to do a line for you, to hearing a referee and his team. The teamwork was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Just basics that you would think well, I never would have thought of that. You know, just stuff you were talking about that was basics, but it keeps you on your toes. It keeps your awareness there. Every player's name, he knew him by their first name. He explained why he'd given fouls if people were upset. He was telling people to calm down if they were being aggressive. He was having banter when it was there. And, you know, the insight is fantastic. And, you know, if I was sat in the crowd and I had that access, I think that would give people a completely different perspective on the job.
Such a great shout.
On that pitch.
What a fantastic idea.
Led us into that brilliantly there, because that's on my notes to talk about.
Yeah.
There's a fan who's there. I know you're a ref, but you're a fan there.
Yeah.
And then you do the headsets, and then you hear. I know they get a lot of stick at all levels, but these are top operators. The linos and the refs at that level, they're top operators.
Yeah.
How they manage games, how they prevent things happening, is just unrecognizable to some people who just see him blow a whistle or hear blow a whistle.
Yeah.
And it's good to get your insights on that, because us as a charity, I've said many, many times, and I know Albert Webb's looked at it, but his hands are tied because it's a FIFA thing. FIFA don't really want it. I'm not sure some players want it.
Yeah.
But from your point of view as a fan and a ref to be involved in it, it really would change the game if they could publish what was getting said and heard on the pitch, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if they did, even if it, and I think it's been done on a couple of programs, doesn't it, where they've used it. I remember many years ago, I think it was in the late 80s, I can't remember his name, the old headmaster referee, and he did an Arsenal game.
Yeah, we don't say his name here. I mean,
I can't remember. I remember there was a bit in it where Tony Adams called him a cheat in the game, and he stopped to give him a yellow card, and it was like a headmaster spanking a little boy, telling a naughty boy thing. But do you know, people were like, well, that was fairly mellow compared to what you can hear a mouth read, lip read now on the Premier League. Well, yeah, even the Women's World Cup final yesterday morning. Look at the goalkeeper when she made the penalty save.
Yeah.
You know,
I think there was about 50 other million people saying the same thing, I think.
Yeah, you know, it's an emotion. I get it's an emotion, and you can, you know, establishing the difference between an emotional outburst and an actual, you know, a foul and abusive outburst is, you know, sometimes people can't differentiate between the two, but in the referee's eyes, he's got to be able to, because he's in control of that game at that particular point. So yeah, fantastic. Honestly, everything about it was just, for me, it made my life so simple. It really did. And I say that from, like, I'm not experienced, but I felt like I've been doing the job for years just because they were managing it for me. It's brilliant.
Place you, mate.
And did you get to put your flag up?
Isn't it? Did
you get to put your flag up?
Do you know the biggest cheer of the game was when I put my flag up for a Pompey throw in the first time? It just went, I did it in slow motion as well. Ben Toner goes, when you raise your flag, do it slow as you can. Just
Brilliant.
Fair play to Ben Toner.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so, you know, so that was it. And a couple of flags just for throw-ins, and a couple of corners which didn't really lead to anything. And just to keep them in, you know, when they were offside, he said, let me know if they're impacting the game, which they weren't. And I nearly obviously tripped over, I don't know if you saw on Sky.
Oh, mate, that was definitely as well.
Tripped over the street drinks bottles. Did you see that?
Did you see that, Was?
No, I've only, because I've had a really busy weekend, I've only seen what you sent me through, so I haven't seen any clips of it at all yet. But I'm going to Google it now, actually, while you're talking, to have a look.
Well, listen, you'd explain it more, but basically, if you imagine this, right, 2 linos have gone down injured. They're struggling to get someone to replace him. We get a star man like Jules to come down and sort it out. He goes to take a position up and tips over water bottles.
I said to him, you got one fucking job. The line's mine. I turned around and talked to him. I turned around and said to him, and he put it and he scooted away. That was just, I think there was it was either a substitution or another stop in play. And so they all, because it's constant, they all come out now with drinks, don't they? Constantly.
Yeah.
But he wasn't mindful of his position. Well, certainly wasn't mindful of mine either. So, God, yeah, imagine that if I'd broken an ankle or something.
That was so funny. And then also, for those listeners who might not know, because a lot of people who listen to our podcast, the feedback we're getting back are not referees. They like the stories we're taking and the angle we've got. So one of the buzzer flags is, do you want to explain to our listeners what buzzer flags are and how they work?
Well, so I will say to begin, their buzzer flags weren't working. We weren't using them. Okay, so
really?
No, he said we're not using flags. He said, we're not using buzzers. We're doing everything vocally. Now, whether that was, I think that was for my benefit. And I'll tell you why, because I had that and it was twitching in my hand and I was, I'm turning over.
Yeah, what a good insight that is.
Yeah, he said, we're not going to use buzzers. He said, we're going to do everything by voice. He said, so if you're flagging for an offside, he said, I want you to talk to me. I want you to tell me. I don't want you to buzz out. So that was one less thing for me I didn't have to worry about.
Great shout.
So,
that's really cool.
So obviously in a normal game when you use them, you've got that little buzzer. If your ref's running around the pitch, linesman sees an instant, sees his decision, he presses that red buzzer, sends a little signal to the referee's arm. He can then see where it's coming from. He looks across and he sees you either waving that. Now, the crowd probably know that now, but that's a huge help, for the referee, especially if plays up his end and the incident's going on behind him and he's not seeing anything. It gives him a chance to watch play and then come back after, if plays in a certain point where he doesn't want to stop it, he can then come back after and say, what was the buzz for? And you can say, well, the goalie smacked the forward in the face while you're not looking, whatever. So it's a great asset. But
it is a great asset.
Yeah.
And what another thing it was on about, mate, as well, is that historically, when the ball got played forwards before buzzer flags, the ref would have to look over towards his line out.
Yeah.
And see if he got your flag up. And then as he looks back, there's a player with his holding his nose and his nose is being broken because the centre forwards has gone bang and done him. So what it could really help was that the ref could focus on the challenge coming in from a ball, particularly on the cross field away from the line out. And then he could keep an eye on him, he could still prevent it. The buzzer's going. And he would say, I've got a buzz offside. And then he would take it. So there's a lot of preventative stuff on it. And like you said, because it's the referee who wears the receiver, and it buzzes and it vibrates. And some referees like to have the buzzer going so everyone can hear it. And others just like the vibration. And there's a cracker story, I think it was Phil Prosser, who the players are there to buzzer. And they said, what's that? He goes, every time you swear, that buzzes. And he went, he goes, yeah, if you swear, that buzzes. And it counts. And if you swear too many times, then I can tell the FA and you get suspended. These players thought that the beeping noise that was coming from the buzzer flag was
brilliant.
Out how many times people swore, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you, Jules. One of our listeners called Chris Kidd has sent us a tweet not long ago, and he wants to know whether you claimed your match fee.
Well, I had a phone call from Mike Jones this afternoon, confirming, not only thanking me for stepping up, but confirming that he'd been in touch with the EFL, and if I hadn't received my payment by next Monday, I'm to email him so he can chase it up.
Lovely.
That's quality.
Which for me, that's a bonus. I mean, I'd have done it for the love and the fact that I had that opportunity. Money, I don't referee, even though I get paid on a Sunday league, I would do it for nothing because, but the lads that play local league football, their refs are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And I said, look, guys, if you're really desperate, even if I'm watching a Sunday game and you haven't got one, I'll put boots on. I won't take money from you if it's that, because I don't need the money. I'm very lucky. But I couldn't imagine seeing 22 guys turn up and somebody that really doesn't want to do it, but has to because the game doesn't go ahead, So the money was not important to me. It's actually a Brucey bonus.
Well, mate, if you want to donate it to Ref Support UK, we'll pay for someone's referees course from an underprivileged background for you in your name.
Ignore him, mate. He's loaded. Ignore him. Ignore him.
You know what I'm actually going to try and do? I'm going to try and hunt those golden boots down because I think I might have to buy them.
Oh, mate, get them signed.
Do you know what? We should actually put a petition together to Pompey to give you them, something that you can frame with your picture on, and that you can, you can keep as a bit of memorabilia. I'm sure that should definitely be the way for me.
Let's do that. I'll put that out on Twitter.
I don't know if they came from Pompey or if they came from the Stevenage dressing room. I've no idea. Sorry, the Cheltenham dressing room.
Martin, I think with your Twitter page, I think you should really put that out there. I think we should see if we can get these boots for him.
Listen, what I'll do, I'll do it now. And what I'll do, Jules,
He'll find them. He'll find them. I'm telling you.
Yeah, what I'll do, I'll tweet it now, right? And I'll go at Portsmouth, right? At Portsmouth. Let's do it live, right? At Portsmouth. And here's where you see how bad my spelling is. It's going to take me ages to spell Portsmouth. At Portsmouth FC, right?
They're going to be here all fucking day, you know, that, don't you know?
Can you please?
Listen,
you've seen how I tweet. I get so much stick. My spelling, honestly, it was like play school, but I'm all right. I know I'm shite at it. Can you? No, let's start it. Julian.
Okay, now.
What's your second name? I forgot.
Browning.
Right. If you want to sing while I'm doing this, that's fine as well, you know. Julian Browning. Right. Who?
This is great listening, by the way.
Was that there? So
I mean, we're fucking rocking the world tonight here, aren't we?
Put some music into this.
I don't know what music. I don't know what music could save you right now, but I mean, we could certainly have a go.
Do the Benny Hill program. Do the Benny Hill. Put Benny Hill into it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's it. Yeah, do that. Yeah.
I mean, this is the stuff of fairy tale, really, though, isn't it? You've got these, you have kids that dream of one day being pulled out from the audience because, you know, their team's lost a player and they get to shoot that winning goal in the final. It's almost like that.
Yeah. Anyway, do you know the best thing about it? At the end of the week. Interesting. You guys were all talking earlier about grandchildren and the like. So I got 5 grandchildren. My eldest son, lives in Egremont up in Cumbria on the west coast, and he's been down with his partner and 4 of the grandchildren for the last sort of 10 days leading up to Saturday. Saturday was the last day, so he was at the game. He was at the game with my eldest granddaughter, who follows Pompey genuinely all the away games in and around the northwest and that, because it's easy to get to. My youngest son, he was there in the other stand with a young lady who is friends of his, who landed from Canada the day before. She's staying with us for a couple of weeks to do some travelling around England because she's never been. Her first game of football in another stand. My little sister, was also there in the frat end with her husband. She left at half time because she wasn't feeling very well. She missed it. And then my big sister was sat next to me up on the top there. So I had 6 members of my family actually at the game. And do you know what I mean? And all in different parts of the stand, in different stands. So they all looked at it from a completely different perspective. I've got different videos from them, different pictures where they've all seen it from different ways. Bizarre.
I don't think from a fan's perspective, I can't think of a better. The only way that could ever be better is if you actually came on and kicked a ball.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way it can be actually better. You know, it's one of them things. You know, you look back on in years' time and go, "Oh, I remember when Dad did liner in for Pompey," and it'll just be like, "Wow!" I mean, it's a mental story. Mental. The fact that they even have to turn to a crowd because they ran out of referees is mad in itself. But to have somebody there that's confident enough and experienced enough to say, "Yeah, all right, I'll do it for you," and then to actually do it, it's just nuts. Nuts.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's 15 minutes of fame we're all supposed to get, I guess.
Just ride it, and enjoy it, and you know, whatever comes off for the back of it, just enjoy it. I mean, it's brilliant. I love it. I think it's. Do you know another thing as well? There'll be a lot of people there that might have been a registered ref, but I bet many didn't have the balls to actually stand up and say, "Do you know what? I'll do it." Because it's a big thing to do in front of that many people.
And none of the players did either, did they? None of the players who give refs every week. They had the chance to step up and they never did, they?
Do you know, Martin, you're absolutely spot on, because someone actually did say, while I was stood in the tunnel, someone actually said, "Well, can't someone from one of the benches do it?"
Said, no, they wouldn't, would they?
Do it. And they went, no. Doesn't work like that. That was another the real thing about it, having members of my family there. Strange.
Was it a full house as well?
I mean, Cheltenham only bought about 250, and because the away end at the moment, they've joined all the corners. They're still doing building work, so they won't open it out to the home fans still. So it's just under 18,000.
That's still a lot.
That's a lot of people.
You know, I mean, what's it? One man and his dog and a group of kids normally on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, a third of the population of Pompey have turned up, and they're there.
You know when the final whistle went then, and obviously you did your thing and that, you walked. Did you actually walk down the tunnel and go into the referee's room with them and everything?
Yeah, so I made my way into the middle, like they do.
Yeah.
with the flag and stood with the refs, and every single player from both teams and off the bench and all the coaches and the managers, everybody came over, shook my hand.
What a
quite a lot of them. Curtis Davis, the Cheltenham skipper. I mean, I didn't know Curtis Davis was playing for Cheltenham. I didn't even know he'd left Derby. I'm thinking, what an awesome signing he is for them. But what an awesome man. What a great game he had. And he said, shook my hand. He said, thank you very much for stepping up to do this. I mean, he didn't have to say that, but he said it. And several others said, thank you very much. Brilliant. Well done. You did well. And then the referee gave me the ball. He said, right, let's walk off now. He said, you've got the match ball. And we walked down. What was even more interesting is there was a member of the coaching staff for Cheltenham who lives about a mile from me. He's born in Paulsgrove, which is part of Portsmouth, and he's on the coaching staff at Cheltenham. And he came up to me, shook my hand, we had a lovely little chat. He said, Paulsgrove boy, you're a Pompey lad. We're both Pompey lads. He said, how weird is this? He said, I'm back at my home city. He said, you live here. He said, no, you're on the pitch. And he said, milk it. He said, absolutely milk it. Enjoy every single of it.
Good for you.
Right,
tweet updates.
Okay.
We're aligning.
Yeah, he just finished spelling
I put it at Pompey. I just put at Pompey. Julian Browning, the Pompey fan who replaced the assistant referee last Saturday, is on our podcast as we speak, recording an episode of the Ref Pod. We have suggested that the Golden Boot he wore should be donated to him as a thank you for stepping up. What do you reckon? And then I've tagged in Sky Sports, Talk Sports, ITV, Match of the Day, and Gary Lineker. Is there anyone you would want tagging in on that?
Get your mate Jim White tagged in it. That's the one.
Yeah,
Jim White puts it out there. Get Jim on the case.
Yeah, get Jim. And you got a lot. I mean, all the guys around. I suppose the Southern. I mean, you've got Andy Moon, who's at South Today and Express FM. He does all the commentary on the games. And I'm speaking to him and Guy Whittingham tomorrow night because they're doing the commentary on the Pizza Cup game against Fulham under 21s. So they're quite in with the club, obviously from a commentary perspective. So I think all those people probably there would probably be enough to be fair. So yes, sorry.
No, say how good it'd be to get them boots back and put them in one of them clear through plastic cases, get a picture in it, and it'd be amazing. That'd be absolutely.
We'll have you back on.
No, so back on, yeah.
Did you rob a ball or not?
Yeah, well, Ben Tony, he took it off. He didn't give it back to him, and he said he stuck it straight. He's put it straight in my hand. He said, "There you go. That's yours to keep." Bless the officials. They signed me a program. I mean, they signed me a program that in the changing room, so they all signed it. And they also said, if you're ever at any games where we're officiating again, whether it's here or you're an away game, he said, make sure you come down and say hello to us.
Oh.
Come see us. He said, because we know who you are now. You're part of the community. Was probably, I think that's the word. He said, come and say us. Don't be afraid to come and say hello to us so we can just catch up and and that. So, so when I had the ball, I used it. I had a quick Submariners Dobie, armpit spray and some aftershave, a damp towel and got my clothes on. And then they took the ball off me and took it into the changing rooms to get signed by the teams. And also the team signed a couple of the team sheets and they crossed out the fourth official's name, and they
brilliant. Absolutely love that, mate.
You can have a wall of fame with all this. I don't know about a little box. You can have a wall of fame.
And you are definitely going to be a question of sport question, aren't you?
Yeah.
On what happened next?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Is that still
on
going?
The chase and everything.
On the chase, yeah, you'll be on the chase. You're on Everton, mate.
Yeah, I'll be asking to go in the jungle next. You watch.
Who is Jules Browning? And all your pictures come up here on touchline.
Yeah, you know what? You'll be online for Soccer Aid.
Oh, yeah.
Mate, even better. We've got your career sorted out for you, lads.
I'm actually genuinely gutted that Soccer AM isn't on anymore.
Yeah, you're definitely on there,
wouldn't you? You'd be right on that.
That probably would have been there because they like all that sort of stuff. They used to love all that sort of stuff, didn't they? So, but it's been an absolutely fabulous, surreal, amazing thing, for me and my family as well, my friends, and I think I no doubt it will calm down at some point. Something else will come along and take it over, but I'm going to enjoy every second of it at the moment.
Well, mate, I think it's brilliant. I think you should be very proud of yourself. And have you got any message to any people out there, young goals or whatever, that are thinking about getting into refereeing? What's your message to them?
If if you can't play the game, but you love the game, refereeing's the next best thing. To be involved, to be on the pitch, you to actually have the opportunity to keep games moving, keep games flowing, because referees are the heart of the game at the end of the day. However people perceive them, there's such a shortage in our area. I'm not sure around the country.
Massive.
And the biggest thing is it's the players that need to understand it. I mean, referees are fantastic. The players that play the game need to understand that without the refs, without the control of the game, they don't get to play. They should be encouraging people to come out. Even if every club that plays in this football league, in the lowest leagues, even if they get one player from their team to go and do the course, so that on a Sunday when they haven't got a ref, he can step in the middle and take over for that 90 minutes and get a feel for what it's really like, to see what a non-player goes through, or what someone they don't know goes through for 90 minutes every week, and not including all the fitness you have to do yourself, and getting yourself assessed every week, so you're always in the spotlight, buying your kit. No one buys your kit for you. You get your kit, your whistles. It costs money. It's not free. So make people welcome if they're doing it. Absolutely, get out there, get amongst it, boys and girls. I mean,
mate, as one of our military veterans, we're very proud that you served.
Thank you,
mate. And I'm sure some of the skills you learned as a referee has probably helped that as well, didn't it? Some of the skills you learned, communication and everything else.
Absolutely. I'm very lucky. I can deal with confrontation quite easily. There are a lot of people out there that we lose because of that, because they get intimidated out of the game. I've never been physically or verbally abused in any way in any game, purely because I can stand there for myself and I can control that situation, which I'm very lucky. I'm very grateful I've been taught that at the end of the day. But people need to be aware that not everyone has that ability.
Wow.
And they should treat everybody with respect.
Well, mate. Well, listen, we're going to let you go if the boys are all right with that. But first of all, I'll thank you again for being one of the armed forces and saving the country and stepping up. And thank you again for stepping up again at Portsmouth, Cheltenham, and all the best for you. Keep it to us. Let's keep an eye on that tweet about getting those golden boots for you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then we'll keep in touch, mate. But thank you very much, Jules. I think football, is seeing what a nice lad you are, and fair play to you, mate. It's brilliant.
Super, gentlemen. It's been an absolute pleasure to meet you all. Thank you very much. And
cheers,
I will now continue to listen every week now. Now I know you're.
Hey, listen, I'm not putting any pressure on you, Jules. We've got 11 episodes to capture up on here, mate. 11.
That is not a problem. I'm where I'm working tomorrow. I'm not in I'm up in London. I listen to anything during the day because my work is focused on other things. So if there's any way, send me a link and I'll get hold of them. I can get through them all tomorrow.
We'll send you the links, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. If you just, you search the Ref Pod all as one word, and it'll all come up whatever you listen on. They're all there. We are pretty new, but it's growing pretty rapidly now. We've had quite a few good guests on, including yourself. Yeah. But yeah, if you keep in touch with us, let us know if anything pops up. We get you back on again. We'll have another chat.
Those golden boots.
Yeah, we need to get this. Yeah, if you get this golden boot back, we need to get you back on. We need to see it.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's the aim. Then let's make it. I will actually call the club tomorrow because I do know a lot. Obviously, I know all the hospitality staff, and I know Kev McCormack, our kit man. He's ex-Royal Marines as well, and Kev's been there a long time. And I think if you speak to the right people, they'll find out where they are. If they're Cheltenham, you maybe want to put Cheltenham FC on there as well because they might have it. Might be
Actually, I'll do that.
I'll send him a voice tag later so he remembers all this.
Yeah, I've got a memory. I've got a memory like what's it called? I was saved. That's it. Granddad jokes.
So you can't remember a joke to take piss out yourself, can you?
Lovely job. Thank you, gentlemen.
Bless you,
mate. Great to meet you, Jules.
Thank you.
All the best, mate. And that was Jules Browning. Great story, that was it. Great story.
It's brilliant, isn't it? It's just absolutely fantastic. It's stuff of fairy tales, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you always worry when you get guests on that you've got no idea what they're going to be like, have you? And you always worry, how are they going to be? And he was brilliant, weren't he? Really good
Superb,
on the mic, and really good story. And you're never going to beat that. The only way you can beat that as a fan is if you actually come on and kick a ball.
Yeah.
I know. Just imagine if you were watching like Liverpool or who do you support, Wayne?
He does, mate. He's not even a football. Look at him. He's not a football
Look at
man.
me. No, I keep up with scores for Donny Rovers. That's me.
Yeah, fair play,
not.
Johnny.
Bottom of the league, mate.
Just imagine what that must be. Like I said, I did it. It's in my one of my blogs where I ran on the pitch at the end of that Liverpool City Etienne game when I was a kid. And I remember looking up at the cop thinking, fuck it. How did they play here? How did they... Oh,
well, sorry to cut off there. Yeah, there's a... I'm not sure... One footballer said it. We can't remember now. We'll listen to a podcast or watch an interview. And he said not only the people that make it to the highest levels, not only the great footballers, but they've got like mentality of steel because they've got all that pressure of all them people watching it. And some people wouldn't even dare walk out of a tunnel, given how many people are actually watching you play football. So like nerves of steel, I think. So, to actually do it and to do it where you make a wrong decision and you could cost your own team a goal, because he's manning Pompey's backline, which is it's proper.
I've never done probably the biggest crowd he's ever done a game in front of as well. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And the way, no balls ups, took it all in a stride, got on with it.
I love it. Yeah. I love it, mate. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant story.
Great though how the ref had complete control. And the ref was supporting him, chatting to him, and explaining what was going on, talking to him through it all. To keep him going, to keep his confidence up there, which it's a superb thing that you hear from the other side. This is what refs are doing. They're not just watching the game; they're actually looking after their own linesmen, their assistants, and they're telling everybody what's going on.
Yeah, really, really good. So since we last talked, the Twitter accounts for F Sport UK has been quite eventful this week.
Yeah, there's a few things I want to touch on this week with you. One which I think is not funny. I think it's quite serious. I think what you did in order to pull it to pieces were incredible, really. I mean, you've literally gone after somebody on social media that was saying some horrendous stuff, really, about Bobby Madley, the ref.
Oh, Bobby Madley, yeah. And it was like, and I noticed what he did.
Just for everybody's benefit, just give us a little bit of a background and tell us what happened. It was
the Rotherham game. Can't remember who they played. And Bobby Madley, I tweeted that strong refereeing, second yellow. The first yellow was for taking this running into the crowd, and the second yellow I think was giving a mouth up, doing the yellow card sign money. And I thought, brilliant referee, that's what we want to do. It later transpired that when he looked at the video of the player that went into the crowd, he'd got pushed into the crowd by one of his own players. So in fairness, they sort of said, we're going to be chatting at it. And Howard Webb and Kevin Friends went down there and they talked. I don't know what the full details was, but it sounded like they had an apology. Now, interestingly, the PGMOL didn't release any public statements about it. Rather, the manager went on there, who I thought was really good, actually. The way you could tell he wasn't happy. 2 weeks on the trot, he'd had an apology off Howard and PGMOL, but he never went into the blame culture. I thought it was great. But then I kept getting bombarded by this one individual, 10 or 20 tweets a day. And I looked at him, and what I do, as you've probably noticed, before I pull anyone on Twitter, I go and look at them, I screenshot everything. Because as soon as you challenge them, you see how many followers you've got. And then you start deleting all the stuff that they put out. So I always screenshot it. And I started looking at this lad, and I was thinking, he just wants me to engage with him so we can go, look at me. And I looked at it, and some of the stuff he put on there was terrible. Personally, about me, about ref support. And what he said about Bobby, one of the real bad ones, apart from calling him the C words and all that, was saying that after this game, we should all get around his car and have a riot. And I'm like, I'm not having that, lad. You're begging me to answer. And I'm ignoring you because I just don't think you're worthy of the time because your intentions aren't good. And then I just thought, sorry, after 6 days of him bombarding me, I just went, every tweet I did with a different subject, he'd come in and, where are you? You haven't cowed. So I went after him, well, within 20 minutes of me putting the tweet up, screenshot of what he did. He was saying I'm offending his mental health, I was doing this. All the stuff that people were saying to him about Bobby Madley, where he thought it was fine to do it to Bobby Madley. And other referees, it wasn't just Bobby Madley. That was fine for him to do it, but someone did similar to him, which I never give him loads. He just said, you nasty piece of work, and here's what you've tweeted. Anyway, he threatened the police, which he couldn't have done because I checked with our legal representative that he was the one that was doing malicious communications, not us. And I get a lot of this. People come back saying, you're a charity, you can't do that. Well, other charities put up pictures of dead people and emaciated children and donkeys with horrible legs, all really good causes. But we can't go back at people and saying they've been in a bed. Just bizarre, really. So in the end, I had him in such a corner that I just said, the only way I'm going to accept taking those tweets down, I want you to do an unreserved apology, which is what he did. And in the meantime, there was other people who've been throwing stuff out that they took their accounts down. One lad who's threatened to break someone's legs, an assistant manager of a football team, his account got suspended by Twitter. It was that bad. So what people need to understand who give us lows on Twitter, that's what I'm out there to do. Get those tweets, get those accounts shut down. Those who are threatening and abusing and being horrible to individuals. You can critique us, give us stick, all right with that. Don't abuse us. Don't threaten physical violence against us. And saying don't use some of the horrible words that people like him are saying to Bobby. So in the end, he agrees. And in fairness, soon, he put it up. I believe it's still up there now. He retracted all the tweets and he took down all the horrible tweets he had. Then our legal rep went onto his account and looked. There was a couple more today. Funny enough, these took off today. And he's now saying that he's going to close down that Twitter account. Now, obviously, the lad was finding that life a little bit hard. But, you can't go out there on social media and throw abuse, file abuse at people, particularly referees now, and don't expect us to come back at you. Those days are gone now. People might give us loads saying we're the bully. You never go first. Someone will throw a stone into the ponds, and then we're the ripples that come back at you.
Yeah.
On you, mate.
Yeah, I think it's really good what you did. I think I think you're probably the first of a breed of anybody that really goes out there and literally puts themselves out there to protect refs, not just at high levels, but up and down the pyramid of football. So I think you should be applauded for it. And look, we all know how passionate you are about it anyway. And it's not words with you, is it? It's actions, which is amazing, really, because it's not just you can talk the talk, but I think what you do is you back yourself up and you walk it as well.
Yeah.
I think it's a massive hats off to you.
I get lots of stuff that I deal with away from me now. Some stuff comes to me through Twitter that I'm handling, which is really bad cases.
Yeah.
But,
I think, do you know sorry, mate, sorry to cut you off there. I think the important thing what people need to know is, and I think when I read a lot of your tweets, and I do you know what, I can't get involved in them because they eat me up. If I get into an argument with somebody, I want to smash my phone, because I want to grab them and really make them understand what I'm saying. So I have to stay out of a lot of them because I can't maintain calm. But I think when people hear about the pod or they look at you and they think that you'll blindly defend any referee or blindly or more like the performance, and it's not. We're never saying you can't critique a ref, just the same you can't critique a player. You'll get better refs, you get better players, you get worse refs, you'll have referees that have a bad game, you get footballers that have a bad game. But what we're saying is we're not going to come on here and say that somebody hasn't had a bad game. But what we'll say is everybody has a bad game, and it has to. You have to draw a line somewhere. You can't then be making threats and everything else that you do. That's not acceptable. I'm a Liverpool fan, and there's times when I've watched the game and I'll come off and I'll say, do you know what? So and so was shit today, absolutely shit. That's fine. I'd never go on social media and say we're going to burn his house down or threaten his family or want to kill him. I still love the guy for representing Liverpool. He's had a bad game. We all have him. And I think it's when people cross that line and think that it's fair game for them to just abuse them and, or in your case, what you see on a weekly basis, not just verbally abuse them, which is bad enough, physically abuse some of these referees. I wouldn't go onto a pitch and attack a Liverpool player because he had a bad game. Yeah, I'd be pissed off, but, it wouldn't change my opinion. It wouldn't make me want to do that. And I think that's what I always find interesting when people come at you and they come at you with this angle and say, oh, what do you think to this today? Then I bet you're going to defend him because he were absolutely shit. Well, no, we're not. We're not saying he can never have a bad game. What we're saying is he can have a bad game, but that doesn't warrant abuse.
Yeah. And I think it's getting in because I did it with then I get the Liverpool fan thrown at me. Straight away, I said the McAllister red card wasn't a red card.
Yeah, well, I know I'm cutting you off again. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's all right. We do each other.
I wanted to ask you this because I've got to be honest, right? This weekend I watched quite a bit of football Saturday. I watched quite a bit yesterday, actually, because I watched the Lionesses. By the way, before I move on to them,
yeah,
we'll have a little chat about them in a minute, because there's two things I want to tie into that after we've done this little piece. I'm glad you moved on to McAllister. I was fucking livid, to be honest. I watched that game Saturday live, and the more I watched it, the madder I was getting, and I'm really furious. And then I don't know if you've seen the challenge Saturday night, and I think it was Gutierrez on a Man City player, Foden, which was horrendous, and he got a yellow. Yet McAllister got a red. And the thing is, they all go on and they all blame like the ref and this, and I couldn't see why he thought that might have been a red for McAllister.
Absolutely, yeah.
And but what people don't understand is the way they've changed the interpretation of VAR because they don't want it in too much. So what they're saying is only intervene if it's clear and obvious. But I think they've gone too far. I think what would be better is if they intervene when they know it was a wrong decision. Not trying to call them out because how quick the game runs, but you're not telling me VAR didn't look at that and think, you know what, that weren't a red. It would have yellowed at best. And to pull him in and say it would have yellow. But they never, because apparently it weren't deemed as a clear and obvious mistake.
You know, you said it, wasn't it? Like,
but if that had been a tougher game for Liverpool, that could have cost them 2 points, 3 points. And I think the way they've gone with it now, they're kind of going back too far the other way. And I just think that if there's been a wrong call, acknowledge there's been a wrong call and give them the opportunity to overturn it instead of saying, well, I can see why he gave that, so we're just going to keep quiet. But
if you look at what's coming out, particularly the way Howard Webb has been brilliant, and you've got what's happening, what we mentioned about Rotherham. Someone took a photograph of them actually. It was Kevin Friends, Howard Webb, and Bobby in a cafe somewhere up there. Someone took a photograph of them, but they weren't looking and put it out on Twitter. I challenged that got taken down. I said that's just out of order. There they are, obviously talking about trying to sort something else in the privacy of, and you think it's all right to put it on. So there's another angle why I do what I do. But what I was getting at is, I would have said that they don't want them to re-referee the game. And I get that. I actually get that. But sometimes you've got to come in and re-referee the incident. Yeah.
Well, otherwise,
because it's at a better angle than the referee had.
What's the point?
I wouldn't be surprised if that's where this goes. And then it's a case of when do you bring it in? Because if you do it immediately, they're going to say, well, look at those two you missed there. And so there's always got to be a beginning and end. Do
you know what? They will look back over a penalty, won't they? If he calls a penalty like that, somebody got a penalty today, and VAR looked over it. It might have been the Soboslai one, the penalty Liverpool got. There's been a couple. I think one will look back on with Pickford in goal yesterday, and VAR. So there's been a major call. The referees in his first instance is called the penalty. So what do they do next? VAR check to see if he's made a massive error. Why don't we implement that same structure to red cards? Because a red card is just as big of a decision, if not more, than a penalty.
Yeah.
So if they're going to say, right, I'm red carding him, then can't we say VAR will check red card? And that way it's not coming in all the time. But you can't have them review a penalty kick to see whether they've got it right and not review a red card to it. It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't.
But you know what else I think it is? What I think else, and I get why the PGMO were thinking this way. And you know what I'm like? I don't just defend them.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not like that. But I sort of look at it and I just think I do get. It's like the beauty of our game is, and that's why I always say you're never going to get consistency. Someone laughed at me, and I said consistency is in the eye of the beholder. It's like beauty. One person's consistency is another one bottling it, or you're a crap referee. And all you can do is be consistent in the game, but and Paul Durkin used to say something when he was a referee coach, and he would say to us, just be consistent in the 15 minutes, 15 in the blocks. Keep.
Yeah.
But then again, you could be let something else go.
Clear your mind of anything that's might have been a 50-50.
Do you see what I mean? And I think so. Someone's 50-50 is another one's red card.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we've got here. I think someone just thought, well, actually, there's a bit more than a 50. It's an amber card, so I'm going with a red. Do you know what I mean? They always say an amber is a bit more than a yellow and not quite a red. And I think it's anything that sits in there. But when you look at everything that was there, I even seen McAllister's body language. He was sort of like that with his hands, didn't he? I know we're on YouTube here for the people listening on not on YouTube. He put his hands out to try to stop
Martin
himself.
is putting hands by his side.
Thank you very much. And I think there was little nuances there, and I think again the penalty with the Liverpool game we could have talked about. The penalty of the Man United game that Bruno Fernandes was moaning about. The Wolves game. Here we are, not even on the third round of fixtures, And look what's going on. But people never turn around and go, fucking hell, it must be so bad to referee. Look at these things.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
But
you just go, you're wrong, you're shit. And
I know, but I think they went so far in the introduction where it was getting involved all the time, and that was too much.
Yeah.
And now what they're saying is we're only going to get involved if it's clear and obvious ever. Well, fucking hell, that Man United penalty or the Wolves penalty were a clear and obvious, not error. It were a clear and obvious misjudgment, or he's missed it, or he's not seen it properly. It were a clear and obvious fucking mistake. It were a penalty. Same with McAllister. It were a clear and obvious mistake. It were a yellow. And I think that what they're going to do is they did it too much to piss people off. So now they're going to do too little and it'll piss people off. I'm hoping what eventually applies is there's a little bit of common sense and there's a little bit of a middle ground, and major incidents such as penalties and red cards should be reviewed.
And I think we get there. And I think we get there. And what's the beauty now of the people that are running football now? They're allowing the game to be changed for the better, which has never ever happened, has it? I know you think fucking hell's obvious, and we're all doing that. But I think football knows now that they'll listen. The Howard Webbs, the Kevin Friends, the Mike Jones, and the FA, they'll listen. They'll try to act quickly. That's never been the case in football at any level. So when all the footballer people out there are getting frustrated like you are, they've got to realize actually that we're not shouting against the brick wall here. They might go the other way. The pendulum might swing one way. Howard said, pull the curtains back. Howard said, don't want to re-referee the game. It's going to come somewhere. It's going to be right. And I think those conversations are definitely going to be happening with the LMA, the PFA, because they're all in this charter. There's a participants charter that's being developed. We're only 2 weeks in, remember. And I just believe that, it's frustrating. And there's going to be winners and losers. But they're still going to listen to the football. They're going to listen to the football family, the fans, the refs, the players. I do believe they're going to get it right. I'm not blindly doing it. I'm not going to say there's not going to be big errors between now and when it gets fixed. But I've got real faith that it will get fixed. VAR will be what it is supposed to be. But I don't know when that is. But I believe
it is taking a long time. And I've never been a big enough. I do love rugby, especially rugby league. I'm really into that at the minute. But I've never been a big enough fan to remember or have watched it enough when that was implemented in their sport to see how long it took them to get it right. Because I know it's a different game, but if you do watch it, it does work. And I think another thing, it's disappointing, but it's a step forward, and this will lead us on into the Lionesses. You know, when we had Andy Ambler on, he spoke about obviously there were going to be you're going to hear the feedback. Yeah. I think that's been a step in the right direction, but still not quite enough for the home viewers or people. You know, like where they are coming on the mic, but they're only telling you what they tell you with a hand signal. You're not actually learning. You're not actually gaining anything. From it.
No real insight.
So whether I think it's a step in the right direction, but again, maybe not quite enough at the minute. But it's a step, and I think a step is better than blindly stood there saying no. Yeah.
But and let's be honest, Andy Ambler was trusted us enough to announce that was going to happen on this podcast, which was great. And I actually believe that. I think he wants more, because don't forget, Andy Ambler is brilliant over here. Yeah. When you get into the politics of FIFA and the politics of those other people at the top there, who definitely haven't got the same outlook as Andy Ambler, and those people who are trying to make positive difference, like Howard Webb and the PGM over here, they're going to hit those walls. Because when they admit to do it quickly, they admit they're wrong. And FIFA, particularly, the FA used to be like that, and the PGML used to be like that. But they're not like that now. This not invented here syndrome. But it's not invented there, and it's not their idea. Nah, it ain't happening even if it's right. And I think what's happening with the FA, particularly in the PGMOL, is that they're going, actually, this is wrong. We want to fix it. Can you help us fix it? And that's where the problem's going to happen, because when you look at what Howard did when Sky a couple of weeks ago, when he published the conversations on VAR, didn't he? Well, he wants to do that more regularly. We've been told that. But he can't do it live because FIFA won't let him.
Yeah, I know.
So again, football's got to be fair to the PGMOL. Like you just had a bit of a rant there, which I understand, because I'm the same with the telly. I know the PGMOL, Howard Webb, Andy Ambler, Danny Neeson, Peter L. They want to make this difference, but they're stuck when it comes to FIFA and IFAB, because they won't let them do it. They can't just go off and do it. They can't. They've got to write it off. They've got to sign. And I think we're going to see lots of changes quickly in the next few months about that happens, the VAR process. And
I hope so, because I think that the longer it carries on and the longer this VAR drama persists, the more it's going to turn people off. I mean, the reason why I say that is it'll never turn me off, because football is my ultimate passion. I live it, I breathe it. If I'm not watching it, I'm coaching it. You know, if I'm not coaching it, I'm reffing it. If I'm not reffing it, I'm organising it. You know, there's never a day goes by where football doesn't in some way impact on my life and what I'm doing in a day. But there are people that maybe are not as invested as I am. People are switching on. I mean, I'll give you another scenario why it is the cost of it. The cost not only now to go to a game and watch a game is through the roof. I mean, I've seen somebody share something today. Pint prices at West Ham, £7.50 for a pint. I would talk to my mate today because Sky, and I don't care what bother. You can't give me any bother because it's there, it's legal. My subscription's up for renewal. They want 157 quid a month for me. And, you know, my argument to that is I don't really watch much Sky TV anymore. The only reason I pay for it is because I love my football. So I want both Sky and I want BT Sport to watch all Premier League games and the Champions League. So it's not cheap anymore. And the more you tarnish the brand, the more you make it less enjoyable, the less people are going to spend. And that will start, it'll happen. It will, and I think about, and Danny Murphy gets pulled for this all the time, and I'm a really big, I really back what he says about when the reason. Listen, football, as much as I love it, it's stressful. The only enjoyment you get out of football, really, is when that ball is back at the net. Because the rest of the time, I've said this before, the amount of stress it puts you under. The goal is the elevation, it's the lift, and it's the highs and the buzz that the goal gives you, which is why you keep coming back. Because ultimately, I mean, you're a Liverpool fan, Matt. You high-profile games, Liverpool, Champions League fan. I've been there. I've been at Athens when they got beat 2-1 by Milan. You know, I've been at Chelsea FA Cup final when we got beat the fight. I hated it. One of the worst days of my life. I didn't want to look at football ever again when I got beat. That's how much it affects me. So you go for the highs of the goals. And when the goals go in now, right, I do not, and this is the truth, by the way, I do not celebrate a goal as hard as what I used to.
I know, because VAR.
Because I don't know whether, you know, before you used to look, and if the line.
I used to look at the line, didn't you?
If the flag were down, bang, I'm on my way, I'm gone. I've rolled down steps at Anfield, mate. Honestly, I've been dragged over seats. I've dragged people over seats. I'm an idiot, right? That part of football at top level has gone for me because I've celebrated, and then you've gone back and you buzz in, you sat down, yeah, get in. VAR's checking goal, and you're like, shit. So, and then when they say you celebrated twice, no, you don't. It's a spontaneous. You worry twice. Yeah.
I think also
spontaneity.
Talking about the highs and lows.
But coming back, I'm going to finish right here. You can take me over. This is why I'm in love with grassroots even more. Not because I'm a coach. I live it and I breathe it for my boys and my club. I know if that goal stands or not there and then. So my rush is instantaneous. Sorry, mate. That's where I'm.
No, that's fine. I get it, and I love your passion. I've said it before.
Why are you waving a fork around, Wayne?
It's not a fork. This is the back scratcher.
Oh, a back scratcher.
I get itchy back, mate. So look, it's a detractable one. Look at that.
When you were talking about the highs and lows, I was thinking, come on, let's bring in the Lionesses here. But what that journey they must have been on. And one of the things I want to say about most of that tournament, about how brilliant the Lionesses were, absolute brilliance, on and off the pitch. But
you know what I love about
them? Did you see anyone dive? Did you see anyone roll around like they're being battered?
Spanish yesterday, pathetic.
But I didn't.
Apart from that, no.
Really, which is, let's be honest, it's almost in the DNA, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
It's fucking horrendous, isn't it? Let's call it what it is.
Well, listen, I want to talk about. Did you see that smack Greenwood's got?
Yes.
Split till eye open.
Couldn't wait to get back on. They were going to change it on pitch.
Yeah, she was going to get a kit off on pitch and get changed there.
She never rolled around, did she?
No.
I've never seen her roll. She's got an eye look like she's just done, being 10 rounds of bleeding AJ.
Tyson, AJ.
Just lay there, got it done. A la Terry Butcher, thing round her head. Off she went, bangs. Brilliant. I never seen anyone rolling. I never seen no mimicking. And they were nearly Wales champions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But none of them did it. None of them.
Do you know? Do you know what I love about them as well? Go on, sorry.
Well, the one bad was Lauren James won it, which he did. That's stupidity.
It was. I mean,
and do you know what? That's what I didn't like.
Did it really?
Yeah, but I didn't like the way the manager got stick because she dropped it for the final. I thought that was a great message.
Yeah, I
thought that was a brilliant message.
Absolutely.
There were some people giving her loads. I just thought, no, great. You can't go and do what you do. Be stupid. Be very lucky to only get 2.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Violent Conduct is 3. Don't get away with 2.
Yeah.
I think because he apologised so profusely, that got down to 2. Give it a chance. And I was amazed up that she did that. That she never
and to be fair, Ella Toon came in and did really well in a place. So
and I thought it was great. And I know what else I think is great. Here we are all talking, and we all know the names.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I became a massive fan of it. I told Wayne, I told you about it when they won Euros.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I was in our coaches chat, and they were like, "Oh, I'm not watching that." And I said, "I'm telling you right now, turn it on, watch England. They're unbelievable. Play some unbelievable football.
It is brilliant.
And do you know what? They were. I just thought they got the tactics wrong yesterday. I just thought
that's starting half.
Yeah, I think they'd set up the second half in the first half. I think they'd have won. I hate it. All I heard for that first 20 minutes was, "Oh, how good Spain are technically." We are. I don't bow down to this ideology that we can't play technical football. We can, and we do. We just had a different game plan to what they did.
Yeah. And one of the shallow way of evidences, totally shallow this is, but it's my little world of how far the female game has come. Is that as I said earlier, the triplets were won on Friday, and we couldn't have a do till Sunday. But my missus was like, no, we'll go down to see the triplets at half time.
Really?
Now, when I met my missus, we were watching Liverpool Everton game on the telly. She didn't even know what she said to me, what colour of Liverpool in. That's how. Yeah. And then she's been to more football grounds than any of my mates. Used to come and watch me refereeing. And there she was. She wouldn't go and see the triplets until half time. Yeah, because she was that into it. That's brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, well, my missus' birthday, and she wanted to watch it, so we sat. I've got like an area outside with a 7.1 surround sound. It's amazing, mate. In like a wooden hut that I built.
Your little tiki bar.
Yeah, my little tiki bar, and I sat outside there. Felt like I was in Spain myself.
But no, do an episode from here.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah. But honestly, it was. I love them, mate. I think they're great. Do you know what I love about them? They're not media trained.
Yeah.
So they're exactly how I want men to talk. Yeah. Just come straight off of the chest and say how it is. But I think they should be disappointed, definitely, because I think they should have won. I tipped them to win it right from the start. But I think they should be immensely proud.
And I also believe that I don't care what you're going to have to go somewhere for the sports personality of the year, team of the year to beat them.
Yeah.
Let's call it now.
Yeah.
Because that's an amazing, amazing achievement. The way they've done it, everything about it, with Mary Earps, I think it was Mary Earps.
I think got to go to Earps. I mean, absolutely phenomenal.
Did you see what Jackie Oakley called her? Jackie Oakley called her Mary Queen of Stops.
Queen of Stops, yeah.
No, we call her Mad Mary in our house.
Mad Mary, she's brilliant.
Yeah, she is amazing. They're all amazing. That and I think another thing what people don't realise is they had like 3 key players missing. They had the Captain Williamson out. They had Frank Kirby and Beth Mead, all massive players when they won that Euros. Were it last year? Or the year before?
Year before, yeah.
And they're phenomenal. And that Kira Walsh, she's unreal passing range. I love ball players. I love string pullers. And she's just unreal. But yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it because I am really proud of her. I couldn't get it out of my mind all day. Yeah, that's how much football affects me. It stays with me for days. I can't get it out of my mind that when teams I want to win get beat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure you tune in we'll have another one next week. Follow us. You know it by now. The Ref Pod. Can forget us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I think I've covered it. It's literally everywhere now. Brilliant episode last week. If you've missed the Troy Townsend, it was my favourite so far.
Yeah,
go and have a listen. It's an absolute mammoth listen. You might want to do it in 2 parts. You might want to do it all at once. But some of the stuff that comes out in there is unbelievable. If you're joining us, if you're brand new, check out our list of guests already. We've had Jeff Winter, we've had Sam Wallace, we've had Pete Walton, we've had Jim White. We're just getting better and better. So that's us, episode 12. Anything planned good for the week, guys?
A friendly on Wednesday night.
Friendly, yeah. Martin, more celebration?
No, we're relatively a couple of weeks. I'll be going to Romania, which if I can do a pod from Romania.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
That'd be good on a Monday because it's the 6-a-side Champions League in Romania.
Oh, excellent.
Nice all the best teams that have won their national league in around the country, around Europe, all come together in this lovely spa resort called Oradia. And I'm over there as part of their referee executive, looking at the referees, and I might even be doing a bit of commentary too. So
really?
Really?
Wowzers.
Imagine me how I talk. Time to pronounce some of these names.
You know, what they should really do is put you and Jamie Carragher on together now. That would be brilliant.
And the scream I'd be full of spit. But we'd have a go. I don't mean because he's spitting out someone. I mean the way we talk and we spit.
Oh, yeah. I know what you meant.
Right, well, listen, thanks again for your time.
Enjoy.
Cheers,
all right. See you later.
Thanks,
Bye.